Peace, peace, power, soul, and activation. This is the Next Nuclear Radio Show. I am your host, Zirayus Razuz, our nuclear leader amongst other leaders and host upon the Next Nuclear Radio Show. And we are FUTURTARIANS and UNONC. Again, hashtag FUTURTARIANS, hashtag U.N.O.N.C. We are live on PODBEAN. Again, extending the fourth dimensional and beyond frequency, that one frequency that we talked about being on one accord by way of activation. So again, we are tapping into exclusive intelligence by way of channeling, extended channeling, and being able to not pull in transmission, but pull in intelligence, the intel. So furthermore, again, we're going to keep extending the mind, bodies, and souls of our people. Again, we're going to keep moving forward and extending this activational frequency by way of, again, our broadcasting or the casting of soul by way of Podbean and on all social media platforms. So yes, we are UNONC FUTURTARIANS, and this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show, and we are going live here in Paradise, Las Vegas, Nevada. Again, the time is 6:35 p.m. PST, 8:35 p.m. CST. So again, we're just again tapping in. We've been collecting and pulling in a lot of this next dimensional intelligence by way of our solar alignment. Again, because it's all about what we're over here is building a council, and again, we are dealing with the solar extension or solar dimensional extension by way of our solargy, by way of our collectivity, mind, body, and soul moving forward. So yes. This intel is coming from our higher selves set in the upper dimensions as multidimensional solar activational light projections as the solar activational council. Yep, we are the solar activational council. Again, bringing forth this next intelligence and extending, the activational frequencies. Again, by way of our solargy, by way of our mental collectivity, and so forth. Again, walking to the future, ones walking with ones, ones walking with ones, walking with ones, because again, we're going to keep extending and amplifying this one frequency where, again, it's only going to attract ones. We move past that 3D algorithm. We move past that 3D algorithm dealing with the binary code, dealing with the quantum computer, which is ones and zeros. Ones walking with zeros, dealing with the 10, our number being the 11, our number being, again, extended further beyond the 10, beyond the third dimension and the cipher circle, because we are, the evolution, the next. We are the next. 11 is next. 11 is the elevation, because we're going to keep evolving mind, body, and soul as this activated council. And as these activated ones, as these activated golden beings, because again, we're no longer calling ourselves black, because we are golden. We are activated golden beings moving forward to the future and extending the next intelligence and the activational frequencies as activation is next now. So yes, I'm sharing this all over. Again, going live on Podbean, tapping in. We're channeling live because this is what's next. This is going to replace TV. This is going to basically go back to how it was when people were back in the old days listening to radio, because radio was basically an equivalent to watching TV. It still is to this day, because radio is still around and we're still casting our voices and frequencies by way of our voices. By way of the radios and all types of radio casting devices, pretty much. Radio frequencies, dealing with the radios, dealing with the radios. Again, those raw frequencies, those ray frequencies or raw frequencies coming from the sun and beyond the sun. So, yes, we're tapping in. Again, on Podbean. So yes, furthermore, again, the only way to move the planet forward is, again, by ones walking with ones. Again, the 11:11, that was our day when all of that energy came down here and it shifted the planet further. Tell me why we spoke or we even noticed. I know a lot of the FUTURTARIANS have noticed that last Tuesday or this week on Tuesday, we noticed how much there was a shift. There was a major difference here on the planet, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people might have felt that, but yeah, there was a major shift or major change. a difference on the planet as far as the energy. They were trying to, it was so much activity going on the planet, but there was something odd about the energy, that neutral energy, that fourth format or that, frequency from the fourth dimension ultimately is, would you say, amplifying and increasing here on the planet. So yes, we're going to keep, you could say, pushing, would you say, the planet forward and further by way of these next nuclear conversations, and what you say, by way of what you say, our collectivity of the mind, body, and soul as us being activated golden beings, because you got your golden beings and you got the activated golden beings. Are you activated golden being or are you a golden being? You know who you are, and we know who we are. We know we. I know me. We know we. Because again, we have aligned ourselves with our future selves. And by way of being and sitting in those council seats, we are part of the activated soul council moving forward. The activated soul council moving forward. Because that's ultimately, like we were saying before, is the only way for us to move this planet forward. We're going to keep on saying that because what else is there to do? What else is next? That is our solar extension into the upper dimensions. That is our solar evolutionary extension by way of our soul ascension into the upper dimensions and beyond. That next step is going through that fourth dimensional gateway, which is the platform or that stage for our continuum evolution to the upper dimensions and beyond. Our continuous continuum evolution into the upper dimensions and beyond. So yes, yes, that's what we are looking at. That is what we see. That's what we're tapping into. That's what we're going to keep extending and again focusing on as the, what you say, that solar activated council moving forward, because that's ultimately what matters. We're counseling. We're coming together as a council. We're coming together as a council to move this planet forward. So furthermore, again, our extension, our, what you say, activated evolvement by way of our aligning with our higher selves, by way of the portaling one-on-one and that soul intelligence that's going to keep, again, amplifying and extending because of our patience and our extended outlook and focus on the importance of coming together. So yes, again, we're going to keep extending what you say, mind, body, and soul. So with that being said, yeah, moving forward into these what you say, upper dimensional conversations, or again, our upper dimensional and extended focus on evolvement. That's all that matters, is the evolvement, our evolvement in our collectivity. So furthermore, again, who we are as the Activated Council. Again, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show. Again, we're live on PodBean, and again, the extended frequencies that we're going to keep bringing forth by way of our gathering, by way of our collectivity. But moving forward, I'm going to touch on the topic at hand here. I just had to give that brief introduction just to warm you all up. Yep. I had to give you guys just a quick warm up so we can get focused on the point. So now, like I said, moving forward, again, our extended activational frequencies are going to keep moving the planet forward. Our solargy, like I said, our solargy, our collectivity in these days and times are only going to push us forward and bring us forth that next intelligence, because again, we're only going to reflect and build off one another by way of the solargy, by way of our minds coming together. So again, yes. Yep. Again, this is ultimately the future coming down to you all. So yeah. So furthermore, again, we're going to keep extending the mind, body, and soul of, again, our people here on the planet. So again, we've brought forth the next intelligence and extended basically what you say, the world, because everything's moving forward. We've seen from, this observational standpoint that the world ultimately is not moving forward, because of information and all of these different types of what you say stagnant ideas, conversations, people of the world and people who are now the future. So we as the future, or we as, a future collective intelligence ultimately is focused on what you say bringing forth that what you say evolution here on the planet. So okay, today's topic is belief systems versus intelligent systems. Again, belief systems versus intelligent systems. Again, belief systems versus intelligent systems. So we're going to keep always pushing forth intelligence, and again, intelligence outweighs fact and theory, fact and theory, because those are all dealing with what, Z-Reyes? Or for the ones listening, what do you think they deal with? They deal with information, forming your reputation. So, yes, that's why it's very, very necessary that we keep looking to extend off the natural intelligence by way of our ability to, again, tap into the upper atmosphere or to these upper dimensional spaces, and again, pull from these next dimensions. And what you say, like we were saying, we're constantly wrapping our minds around these new frequencies, because again, we're only looking up, we're only channeling up, we're not focused on what's already here, which is information. So again, we have those information that is put in or moved and mixed in or has been built on a system called belief. All of the information, all of the let's say religion, all of these things that, again, that have kept people mentally looped, that have kept them mentally in that cipher circle on information. And again, like I said, we've come to move forward, so we have to tap on the subject, because again, nobody else wants to bring forth any next dimensional evolution, because we're talking about dimensional as far as the dimension that we're here right now. So there has to be a push forward. There is no nonstop. People get too comfortable because, again, they don't want to keep moving. Sometimes people get comfortable of just standing still and being stagnant mentally, soulfully, spiritually, physically. So furthermore, again, we have to look at these belief systems as mute your microphone. Okay, thank you. So as far as, like I said, as far as us looking at these belief systems ultimately are backed by information. And when we move towards the intelligence systems, because again, today's topic is belief systems versus intelligence systems. So when we're dealing with the intelligence systems, whether it be, again, what we're doing, building a system over here as the activated ones, walking with ones here, and U.N.O.N.C. FUTURTARIANS. So that counts as an intelligent system that is moving forward and building. And if you go beyond us, you have our higher dimensional selves, but then within those higher dimensional selves, where they're in spaces, those spaces that we're talking about, again, those represent intelligent spaces, because again, there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of evolution when it comes to belief systems versus an intelligent system. The difference is, again, belief systems, ultimately, there is no movement. It's stagnant. Again, there is no, what you say, any evidence or, any of that, what you say, there's no power. Let's put it like that. In belief systems, there's no power. There's no mental power, as opposed to, again, looking at the intelligence systems. Again, like you got to think about the magnificent intelligence that it took to, again, make these galaxies, make these solar systems, make these other planets, make other sectors of extended space in upper dimensions, and beyond that. So again, it takes a lot of power and a lot of, what you say, focus, and what you say, calculated, and what you say, accurate focus and energy being pushed in direction which is always forward, which is always expansion, which is always again, all about creating and testing intelligence. How far can we push our intelligence this way, that way, the other way, up and down, vertically, horizontal? But that focus, that shows power. That shows, again, that, that mental freedom, that fortitude to be able to, again, as activated ones, walking with ones, our numbers being number 11, we have that ability to do that even now. We've been doing it for years and years, but we have not, in this lifetime, we've come to a point now where everything is beginning to align and make sense. That's why we've moved past belief systems and we've tapped into intelligent systems, intelligent beings and brothers beyond, outside of this dimension, outside of this space and place called the 3D matrix and whatnot. So moving forward as the activated council, that is why, again, we've come here to, again, push forth the activation, push forth intelligence, because this is a true intelligence movement. Again, you've heard people come up, yeah, we have a so-called intel movement coming up, but no, this is where the true intel is coming from, because we're actually putting forth and we've set aside all of belief. We're not pushing deities. We're not focused on, it's a collective council being built over here, and our solargy is causing shift on the planet. Our solargy is causing this shift because, again, real souls, activated souls are causing a adverse or a side effect, or that shock wave, causing the planet to keep expanding and keep on, enveloping with this energy. So again, I have today with me brother AF1, and again we're both, and as well as brother Cosmo, and again all other people, futurtarians, or activated channelers here on this planet. We feel the change. Like I said before, we this week in general, last Tuesday or this Tuesday, in this week, there was a shift that a lot of people probably didn't even notice, but you could feel that the planet was in a different energy, or in a different state, or a different dimensional groove. Because so much energy is being pulled down into this dimensional space that, again, things only have to go forward. There is no stagnant, being comfortable. None of that's happening right now. None of that. We're not feeling like there is a drag, or there's that slow feeling, as far as because time is really speeding up. We're actually able to manipulate time to the point where we've noticed that time is speeding up. They're saying that they're dealing with so-called daylight savings or whatnot. But again, when you're dealing with their quote unquote belief systems, then again, you will believe it is a so-called thing called daylight savings and energy. Nobody, no, we're tapping into something different. We're tapping to the higher dimensions, because again, that's the focus. That's really what's important at this point. Focusing on the intelligent systems that we're going to build in the future, because again, belief hasn't got us anywhere but more confused, and constantly trying to adapt and trying to be like the so-called other people here on the planet, the humans and humanists, all those people who again are trying to artificially keep this world going. But ultimately, as opposed to us, we're trying to see this world evolve to a point where we get off of it, and so what? Whatever happens to this planet, so what? Because again, for the ones who are of the soul and who come over here, again, in these times, because again, we are linking up and moving forward by way of, again, this evolutionary activational frequency, aka the one frequency, that one accord frequency and vibration that we all are putting out and tapping into. So furthermore, we are FUTURTARIANS, U.N.O.N.C. This is the Next Nuclear Radio Show. And again, we are live here in Paradise, Las Vegas, Nevada. Tapping in. Again, this intel is brought to you by our higher selves, set in the upper dimensions as multidimensional solar activational light rays and pillars. Again, pushing forth the activation as activationist, spreading forth this next fourth dimensional format, because we're tapping to the next fourth format. And that next format is really dealing with the fourth being that platform where we jump off and keep continuously pulling in next dimensional intelligence, where we're constantly, bringing forth these ideas and next nuclear conversations. That's why this radio show is called the Next Nuclear Radio Show, because we're bringing forth next nuclear ideas and conversations. Those next nuclear ideas and conversations are only going to echo and cause a ripple effect in this pond or in this system, where people are going to really, eventually they'll hear this, or people, the right ones, will hear this, because again, this frequency is going, above, regulars' mind frame, or their frequency, their range of thinking, their range of operating. So again, this is for the real ones, again, moving forth into this next dimensional rift, aka that fourth format, the fourth frequency, that new frequency come down to the planet, these new frequencies. That's why we're constantly wrapping our mind, bodies, and souls with new frequencies. Check out that podcast on U.N.O.N.C. Again, check out our channels, me and brother AF1's channels. His channel is Futurtarians Activation Channel. Again, Futurtarians Activation Channel one more time. Futurtarians Activation Channel. Check them out on YouTube. Again, we are U.N.O.N.C. Moving forward, belief systems versus intelligent systems, because again, we're not in the belief system. That's why there's no power, because you're catering your energy, you're catering your power to people who don't deserve that shit. Hear me again. In belief systems, you're catering your energy, your mind, body, and soul to people who don't deserve it, as opposed to in the intel systems, we are again bringing forth our energy as a collective and moving forth. Even we're on the same frequency with, and again being on that one accord, that one frequency. Again, we're diverse on one frequency. We're unique. We have our own minds on that one frequency. Diverse, unique, and what you say powerful, because again, we can't all be the same mentally, but we can all be tapped in on the same frequency, that one frequency. And that intel system versus a belief system, they want you to be, again, I said before, belief systems. And if you've seen if you see this actual thumbnail later on, whether you watch YouTube or hear it on PodBean or just Spotify, whatnot, but ultimately belief systems are, again, religion, all of those systems of, mental control, where they're trying to entertain your mind. All of that is meant to, again, they're trying to succumb or, pull your energy or pull your power by manipulating you. That's why, again, those ones who are doing that, again, they're not coming to the future, because again, we're ones walking with ones and not ones manipulating zeros. We're not tens. We're all 11s over here. Because again, that's what's really important is, again, our evolution to see the purpose in merging and coming together with the right collective beings, or the right beings, again, on that same one frequency or on that same one accord. That's why the intel systems have worked, because it's expanded as a microcosm outside of us, or it created what we have today as this microcosm. Because again, you have galaxies, you have, again, universes, you have all of this. Those are all intel systems. Because again, there's power in that. Versus, hey, I'm believing in Jesus, I'm believing in Jehovah, I'm believing in Yahweh, no, there's no power in that. And I hate to say that, but not that I hate, but it's the reality. Again, there's no mental evolution. There's no power in believing in a deity and trusting in a deity that you can't see, that you can't, touch, but you can't, again, most people have these caricatures of what they think their deity looks like. There's no power in that. Trusting in yourself and trusting in a brother that's on the same one frequency you has more power than that. There's no argument against that, because it's reality, man. We on fire over here, because that's the reality. It is. Again, there's no, ones being around zeros anymore, because it's all ones walking with ones. If that one can acknowledge that and tap into that one frequency and see that there's more, it's, they say that it's greener on the other side. Well, it's more purple on the other side, because we're tapping into those ultraviolet rays, those indigo frequencies, those indigo rays and frequencies beyond, again, moving past the blue. Again, we're beyond blue. So moving beyond, again, these, humanist ideas tied into belief systems. That's where, again, there's no power in belief. There's power in action. There's power in intelligence. There's power in moving forward. So let's do that. We're doing it over here. Moving forward as ones, walking with ones, walking with ones. Do y'all hear me? Because there's no more second guessing what you or I or we must do. We see it. So let's do it. Let's capitalize on that A, on activation, on that one frequency, on that extended mind, body, and soul frequency. Again, people aren't ready for that kind of, people are not ready for this kind of talk, because this talk is what is going to move things forward. Because I'm not bullshitting you and you're not bullshitting, because this is what it's about. moving forward, because we are rapping new frequencies, mind, body, and soul. We are rapping. Rapping is talking. We are rapping new frequencies because it's real and it's time. Today I almost didn't do a live today because I was such not really motivated because there's a point where it's just like, well, hey, you kind of just give up on people, especially, trying to, preach to zeros and ones, especially ones that know how real this shit is. So, it is what it is. We ain't preaching, we ain't talking, but we're just bringing forth real conversation. This next nuclear idea here on the Next Nuclear Radio Show. So, again, brother LAF, whenever you want to come in and tap in, feel free. Peace, power, and soul.
Peace, power, and soul. Yeah, going back, we got said at the beginning, dealing with the shift and the energy. All that happened after November 11th. That's when that stuff started to shift. And like I said before, when you was talking about like the teachers and stuff and people that's on the internet when they were on November 11th that day, and like I told you, I said November 12th, they're going to be back on the same frequency. And that's just how they roll. You know what I mean? Because they're not consistent with being stuck on that one frequency. Now that one frequency is always going to be there. It's always going to be there, but it's just, okay. Like when it's the same thing as when you're dealing with, a digital TV. You got channel 9, you got channel 8, you got channel 11, so forth. Right. So if you want to tap into the highest channel, then you have to go to that frequency. You have to tap into that frequency. How? With your remote, your remote. You have to tap into that. But then what happens? People change the channel. They go back and forth. That's why when I say the trail mix when you're dealing with live intelligence, live intel. So when you're dealing with the topic belief, the belief system, yeah, everybody knows in the word belief, you have the word, lying belief. That's old information, but it still plays a factor to this day. It still plays a factor to this day dealing with the word lie, being told, because the lies and the truths, they're all in a bowl. They're all in a gumbo pot. They're going to keep mixing that stuff up and having you going on what? A hamster wheel, going nowhere. That's why tapping into the highest source. You see, the source has no name. The source is not a deity. And see, that's one thing about what these deities don't want you to know is tapping into the source, because some of these deities are tapped into the source, but they're using it for their own personal gain. They're not using it to extend nothing. They're just using it for reincarnation, coming back to whatever dimension that they come back to, or whatever dimension that they're stuck in right now. And the only way you can go through that dimension is to go through the ones, the 1111. And people be like, oh, y'all cocky. What do you think? Like, no, that's just the reality of it, because nobody's coming with intel. See, that's the thing. We was talking about putting the cyberverse on pause. The cyberverse, it's been what? I think Saturday we put a video out. If it wasn't Saturday, I think it was Wednesday. But putting the cyberverse on pause, dealing with teachers out here, now they on pause because what's happening is now that this intel's getting put out, now everybody has to, we the golden mustard, everybody got to catch up. Well, how do you catch up, AF1? There is nothing else. That's how you catch up. There is nothing else, because when you look at these people that's out here teaching, I don't care who they are. They always go back for a reason. I mean, it's cool to go backwards every once in a while dealing with intel if that's what you're going to do. But when you go backwards on a consistent basis, then that's just proof in the pudding that, you're getting burnt out. You're just like the sun gets burnt out, turns into a white dwarf, or it turns into a black hole, or it turns into I forgot that one that shoots out the two lasers. Actually, it's a one beam. Well, anyway, what is that called? I I'll figure it out later. But yeah, just dealing with going back to the 1111. Why ain't nobody talking about that no more? You know why? Because they're worried about 1212 now. What's 1212 going to bring? 1212 is not going to bring no souls through no portals, no future souls through no portals. I know that. See, it's going whatever, and that's going back to the belief system. And then what's after that? 1-1, right? January 1st. So, you know, it is what it is, dealing with the number code system, dealing with the numerology system, that the numerology system can also be decoded. So you're dealing with everything dealing with the ones walking with the ones, the two dots is the portals. There is nothing else. Like when you're dealing with this weekend, I'm going to put out 2 videos this weekend. And then next weekend, it's a lot of people got 4-day weekend dealing with Thanksgiving. So a lot of people's off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that's going to be a good intel weekend right there because, you know, people are waiting on the intel, but it gets put on pause. And the reason why it gets put on pause with that number 11 is because we're starting to do more things than just make videos. It's cool and dandy. We're looking for the ones. And then I'm going to put out the video this weekend. Will your name be on these seats? That's going to be a critical video because will your name be on these seats? What's the seats? When you're dealing with, I'm going to use the Avengers as an example. When you're dealing with the Avengers, the majority of the people watch the Avengers. I've seen at least one movie. When you're dealing with them, they were it was all symbolic to ones walking with ones. That's what that show was actually showing you, ones walking with ones, what you can do when you work together as ones, because the ones that's down here that manipulate the zeros, dealing with quantum physics now, going back to quantum physics, dealing with ones and zeros, the ones that manipulate zeros, right? In order for this planet to move forward, all they got to do is come over here. See, that's how you know the ones that are down here have a selfish mind frame, because they know where the intel's at. A lot of these teachers know where the intel's at. There ain't nothing they can do about it, man, because when you come with futuristic stuff, you have to, in order for you to come with futuristic stuff, you got to be tapped into the future. I mean, even going back to the old scientists, the people that invented certain things, they were tapped into the future. They tapped in. How they did it doesn't even matter. They tapped in. They moved the planet forward. You know, just going back to the number 11. The number 1111, man. There is nothing else, man. That's overriding the ones. The 1111111111. That's overriding quantum physics. That's putting a glitch in the true matrix. That's putting a glitch in the true matrix with all ones. And I heard, it was so funny because I heard this one brother, he was like, well, how you going to run he said, how you going to run a computer? Because a computer runs off ones and zeros. We know that. But how you going to override the computer? Because if you know the computer works off ones and zeros, well, what's the override sequence? To override what? Artificial intelligence. And when he had said that, I'm like, he just don't get it, because subconsciously he was still putting faith into artificial intelligence, putting faith into computers, putting belief into computers. That's what he said subconsciously, even though he might have knew what he was talking about, but a lot of times they don't, because they go off facts and they go off Google, Siri, and Alexa, or what they read off the dictionary or off an encyclopedia. Because all that stuff is what? That's the loop process, right? Going back to meta, going back to the metaverse, going back to metaphors. And you're going to start seeing that on Facebook very soon right now. You're going to start seeing that meta soon. It's coming, you know, and that's a good thing, because I ain't going to say good. I don't like using words with 2 zeros in it. I'm catching myself, but that's going to be a great thing to see that alter and shift to that symbol, is because it means what do you want to deal with? Do you want to deal with the loop, or do you want to deal with the one? So go back to 100. 100 When people say 100, that's a 1 with 2 loops, the meta sign. 100, either you're going to be a 1 or you're going to be a meta. So then all this stuff is galactical code systems being played out, and people don't know subconsciously this stuff is so easy to break down, but it's not going to be easy unless you activate it to break all this stuff down to actually see what's going on for the future, for your future children, right? Producing real future children. How do you do that? You got to wait for that future soul. You have to get them activated and wait for that future soul to come through a portal. But where did you read that from? What book is that in? It's not in no book. Book had 2 zeros in it also. Going past that, going past quantum physics, going past the reality that's been set in stone for people to be looped mentally. Going back to the belief system. The belief system is just like that. It's a system. So what is a system? Right? You got a stereo system. You got the educational system. You got all these systems. Why do you think they said system for? Because it's not. The system is reality when it deals with information. The system's not reality when it deals with intel. That's why they push the system. Intelligence, receiving something next, is being tapped in and walking with ones and being activated, getting your junk DNA activated, being around ones. So the system doesn't play a factor to intel. Information will never play a factor to intel. So that's why you're going to start seeing teachers more in the future. They're going to start saying intel instead of information, because there is nothing else after intel. How is it going to be something that's futuristic? That's why when they say in the army, yeah, you guys made it back. Did you get the intel? Because it's stuff that they don't know. They don't know what's going on over there. If they were doing recon, that's why it's called intel, because they don't know. It's not set in stone. It's just something that you receive. And that's what separates the belief system from the intelligence.
Yep. And this is the Next Took Radio Show, bringing forth this next intelligence. That was a wonderful breakup by brother AF1. Check him out on his channel again, FUTURTARIANS Activation Channel. So again, dealing with belief systems versus intel systems. Like I said before, how I picked up and how I pulled in dealing with the whole intel systems. Like I said, all of the different solar systems, dealing with the soul, all the beings that walk in and out of those different portals and stargates within those solar systems that are outside of our solar system and beyond, pretty much. But again, that all deals with power. There's a power exchange. There's always that continuous powering up and expansion into more extended spaces, because again, there's no limit when you are dealing with intel systems. When there's belief systems, there's a limit. There's a limit to, how far you can ask as many questions as you want, or how far you can think before, again, somebody wants to be like, hey, you thinking too deep. That's too deep. Or that's too spooky. Don't talk about that, brother. Type, because again, moving forth into the fourth format, we're going to be bringing forth these next two clear ideas and conversations, again, that a lot of people are too afraid to again, really, comment on or say anything, because again, it's reality. Reality is being brought forth by way of, our collectivity and our, what you say, coming together as, what you say, ones walking with ones, and bringing forth a whole next, a wave of energy, or a whole next rift. Like I said before, ones walking with ones is the only thing causing a shift on the planet, because again, we are going against the grain of belief system, which means that again, when we're moving forward and not going back. So moving forward, again, going against the grain of these cipher circles, or the regular thinking of regulars, of the humanists, of, again, all of the people who continue to keep powering the system of beliefs, whether it be, dealing with, like, again, religion, or all the other things I said before. That's ultimately, why, again, we have extended our mind, bodies, and souls into a whole next, what you say, focus. And again, doing that has brought us more mental clarity, extended clarity, which again, again, I'm going to talk about that as well. But that whole extended clarity of us, seeing that there is no power in again, trying to continuously, work this system or trying to, support beliefs, because the more that you keep continuously supporting the beliefs, the more that you're lying to yourself. People up there are lying to themselves, and because again, they are so caught up in beliefs that again, they're believing lies. Would you say, and these lies have ultimately became truth or so-called reality to most, but it's not really what you say, proved anything, or what you say moved anything as far as on the planet. Like I said, all of these different, what you say, um, things that they've brought up as far as again trying to introduce the different schools, again because again certain schools, or I would say school dealing with the 00 over double O, is also something that keeps looping your minds, because again people who don't, would you say, break out of having to, would you say, want somebody to teach you something, or as far as on the level to where again we're talking about the ones dealing with zeros, or the ones manipulating zeros, again dealing with that school system, because that's a system that ultimately deals with belief. You're believing information that these teachers, aka who play as ones, are feeding you, and you're again as a zero, you're constantly looping your mind and formulating your mind to what the frequencies that they've put out as far as belief systems and all the other stuff, again dealing with artificial intelligence and all the things that again basically you give over your mind, or submit your mind to, again give to believing or accepting what people say, and you don't question it. That's why again we're questioning everything that is being put out here on social media, on all these different sites, because again it's not talking about anything. We're bringing forth the next conversations, again dealing with the next nuclear radio show, and again dealing with again the whole next nuclear focus in the next nuclear era, because again this is all dealing with channeling and pulling intelligence. Are you able to channel? Are you able to pull in? Again, people who are talking about, yeah, I can see this, I can see that, but again we're tapping into a whole next dimensional rift and a whole next dimensional focus, as far as us activated beings, and again once walking with once, we've opened up portals. Again, there's so many portals opening up on the planet, and so much energy coming through, and like I said, there were, like brother AF1 said, on the day of 11/11, there were again activated souls that came through. And because of that, that's why there's so much shockwave, or that initial implantation of ones down to the surface of the planet, which is really, however you see it, a zero or not. But ultimately, those ones penetrating this dimension of cyber circle, it ultimately has caused more extension. And again, we've broken the fabric of a three-dimensional realm, and we're constantly extending forward. And we're also going to break out of that, because that's what's next. That's what's inevitable for activated ones, or people who are of the future. We're not going to be here forever. People who keep, giving so much energy to this place, to this system, again, that's because they're not of the future. They can't, see themselves, going anywhere beyond, or see themselves tapping into anything else, because again, they're not of the future. That's why moving forward, dealing with the whole intel systems, again, for the ones who are really tapped in, look at what you've been seeing. Again, we're able to see into these other dimensions and other realms and other spaces and places by way of the intel systems. If they weren't real, then what we're seeing, wouldn't be able to, what you say, show itself or present itself the way it does. That's why the intel system, or the expansion and creations of other solar systems, of other galaxies, of other dimensional spaces beyond this space and place that we call Earth, it actually is out there. Like again, those actual beings out there, those other, what you say, dimensional spaces where there's constant creation, where there's constant expansion, is basically as out there. That's why again, we don't put power in belief, because we put power into intel, because intel, it is out there. Everything that goes against what we've been taught, or goes against what's been put in books. Again, you can't minimalize intel and try to put it in a science book, and put it in a geography book, and put it in all these different double O's to keep people looped in, because again, they don't want you to tap into the raw source, that raw energy. So yes, this is for Next Week Radio Show. Again, we are tapped in, me and brother AF1 and brother Cosmo, and all other what you say listeners at this time. Again, who we are as Futurtarians here in on this radio show, talking as well as listeners. Again, we keep pushing forth activation, and we keep pushing forth intelligence, because again, intel is always intel over belief, or intel over information. So go ahead, brother F1.
Yeah, going back, give y'all some homework. Go back to November 11th, 2020. And if you go back to November 11, 2020, wasn't nobody talking about portal travel. Now, when you go to 2021, look how many people were on the internet talking about 11/11 portals is opening. The portals is opening. Where do you think they got that from? They got that from futuristic beings that channeled through us, that came through the portal. See, when you're dealing with futuristic beings, they come through portals, man, but they don't like they can send your future soul through a portal. If you're worthy of it, you got to be worthy. You got to be activated. That's how your future soul comes through a portal. Wasn't nobody talking about. I guarantee, man, you go back to November 11th, 2020, and see how many teachers was on the internet talking about 11/11 portal travel. Why? Because that's something next. That's something they never heard about. That's something that now there's something for them to catch in. And what happened? What happened after that day passed? They went back to their old ways. They went back to what they've been learning from Google, Siri, and Alexa, from encyclopedias, Webster Dictionary. That's what they went back to because they have no choice, because the source is always going to be the source. There's not going to be a lot of people on the planet that's going to be tapped into this frequency. That's just the way it is. If you feel that you are one and you want to be tapped into the frequency, you have to be over here. It's just that simple. This is not for everybody. It's for the ones. It's for the ones that want to be with ones. Because like I said before, there's ones down here that still manipulate zeros. And that's what they've been doing for the last 6,000 to 7,000 to 10,000 years. And now that we putting everything on the forefront, the ones that's down here that manipulating zeros, they don't like it. It's just, it is what it is, man. And moving forward, mind extension, extending the mind. Put it like this. I always use this example because this is a good example. All right. You get put, I forgot the Cowboy Stadium. I always remember that. That's one of the biggest stadiums. The Cowboy football team is one of the biggest stadiums, right? I'm not sure, don't quote me on this, but I think it seats like anywhere from like 60 to 80,000 people. Spend 1 month talking to all those people in that stadium, at least for, no, let me rephrase that. Spend a year. I'm just going to say 1 year dealing with time, because in this three-dimensional realm, we're still dealing with the time paradigm. So 1 year and you talk to everybody on a consistent basis in that stadium, you will remember everybody in that stadium. The whole point I'm making is, what are you saying, AF1, is because there's no limit to your mind. That's the point that I'm making. If you spend enough time around people, you remember them. I don't care if it's 7 billion people or if it's just, 11,000 people. If you talk to them on a consistent basis, you will remember them. You remember their face, you remember their names. If you talk on a consistent basis, that's just showing you the limitation of a mind. That's why when you're dealing with these systems, these belief systems, these school systems, that's why they have you in the loop process. Why do you think we stress the loop process so much? Because that is real. This is not, this doesn't have to, what's going on over here has nothing to do with magic, has nothing to do with witchcraft, has nothing to do with religion, has nothing to do with belief systems. This is just intelligence moving forward, being tapped into the highest frequencies. That's still beaming through this planet. It doesn't matter. You can chemtrail it up. You can put a dome over this. It's going to happen because the ones that got here first, think about it for a minute. The ones that got here first, they were from the future. So that means they left this place. Think about that for a minute. The ones that got here first from the future means they left. So the ones that tap in to their future souls, it will be the same. This is not like rocket science. This is anybody with a logical mind that can think on their own can understand what we're talking about. Moving forward, dealing with 11/11. Like I said, man, go back to 11/11, 2020 and see how many people was talking about 11/11 soul portal travel.
Yep. Because again, as soon as we as futurtarians, or as far as like the push of 1111, began, everybody began to ultimately what you say, ride the wave or ride the frequency, because they felt the power of the 111. Again, you're going to have people next month talking about, 12, 12, 12. And then again, like you're saying, brother F, 1, 1, 1, 1, because again, people are subconsciously tied to the numerology that they have been reading in books that's tied to that belief system. And again, we're tapped into a whole next rift as far as futurtarians, as far as future beings, as far as UNONC. We have tapped into the intel system, which basically has brought us extension for movement, clarity, and again, our mind, bodies, and souls being evolutionary charge and activated charge by way of, again, the magnification or the amplification of us, having to, again, deal with our solargy. Our solargy is the only thing that is basically causing this shift. Again, us being able to channel with our higher selves is bringing power. Again, we're pulling in power, intelligence from these next dimensions, which is, again, the reason why, again, we let go of belief systems is because, again, we know that there's no power. You can't pull anything. You can't pull any intelligence from belief systems because, again, it's all information. Everything that we've come to understand is all due to belief systems, because again, it's meant to keep our minds under that one frequency and not on and above the one frequency. Again, they don't want you to be tapped into the intel, because again, they want your minds looped, constantly looped, and constantly having to what you say, submit your mind into accepting what they tell you, accepting what, they think is reality or law, but it's not, because we know that there's more beyond what their belief systems have held and been holding true for the last thousands of years and 10,000 years or whatnot, because again, we know that there's more dealing with the future, because again, there's no limit to, again, we're constantly preparing ourselves for the future. So that tells you that, again, past and present are obsolete when you should be preparing yourself for the future. That's why we're always aligning ourselves. Again, if you are a future being, we're aligning ourselves to, again, these next dimensional energy shifts, because again, that's only going to cause more and more, what you say, opportunity to, again, build and grow and extend to a more futuristic level, or to an extended level as far as our souls, but then being soul beings and dealing with the light. Because again, we're not dealing with anything that's, again, with the spirit energy. That spirit energy or that spiritual energies deal with belief systems, because again, spirituality, consciousness, being woke, dealing with, again, religion, all of those deal with belief systems, because again, you're not what you say, being taking responsibility for your own mental growth. That's what I'm trying to say. When you what you say, cater yourself into belief systems, you're not taking responsibility for your own mental growth, your own mental evolution. You're going to allow a Allah, a Jesus, a God, or any of these motherfuckers to basically, they're responsible for why you got where you at. They're responsible for why you are the way you are. No, you're responsible for your own actions. When you begin to take responsibility for your own growth and your own evolution, then that begins to show that you have the power. You're the power of being, again, hey, I am the God. I am the Godhead. I am the energy that's in control of this vessel. I am the energy that's in the past and the future that will keep growing and extending. That's power. That shows power. That shows, again, that you are in control of what you're doing, and not, again, um, you know, not really empowering who you truly are, but basically, again, only accepting what is out there and not questioning, or not basically putting in time and energy or work to basically see, hey, whether that's plausible, whether that's truth or not. So, again, this is the Next Week Radio Show again, and we're tapped into these extended frequencies. And again, we call ourselves Next Week Radio Show because we're bringing forth next to clear ideas and conversations. So, again, Brother AF1, go ahead.
Yeah, going back to validation. That's so critical, man. Being validated, being because somebody else had said it, somebody else had said it. No, you need to be saying stuff that somebody can validate. From what? Intel. Because the validation that's how people are getting looped. They need validation. They need to be like, okay, give you an example. They need to be like, okay, well, I heard this. So then they go Google it, or they find it in a book, and they think that that's valid because they found it in a physical form sitting somewhere. the validation factor. Anything that's validated doesn't mean that it's actually futuristic. Validation doesn't mean futuristic. Validation just means that somebody else validated it. I'm not even talking about science, the anatomy of a body, or dealing with the periodic table, right? I'm talking about just dealing with belief systems, doctrines, religion, validation. Going back to the Bible, because the reason why the Bible's so funny, to us is because we know it's a code book. It's a coded book. It's not reality. Like I say, I heard one teacher say this back in the day, and it always stuck with me. He said, I think it was Sarah Sudenseti, matter of fact. He said, where's all they tombs at? Where's all they tombs at? Out of the whole Bible, there's not one tomb, not one burial site. That's questionable right there just alone, because then that starts to deal with logical thinking. Where's Jeremiah? You know, where's Isaiah? Where's Abraham? You know, where's Jacob? Where's all these people that was in the Bible? There's not one tomb. But then, like you had said, Brother Zarez, you had said, but they're finding old bones from 2 million years ago. Like what? That has to take logic. And that goes back to belief. People actually believe this stuff. No, it's a code book. Even dealing with the book of Revelations, that's a code book. That wasn't literal. The book of Revelations was not a literal book. It was dealing with a code system, just like the rest of the Bible was dealing with a code system. That's why I was breaking down the word spirit when they got that from the Greco-Roman priests when they was talking about spearing Jesus on a cross. When the Roman got orders to spear Jesus on a cross, what was that? That was a metaphor. Metaphor. They're putting everything in y'all face, man. It's so funny because the Futurtarians be over here. I'm not even playing, man. We be over here cracking up because it's funny to us now. We get to that point, mentally evolving fast. We get to a point where a lot of that stuff is just funny to us now. You know, spearing Jesus on the cross. The Romans got orders to what? Spear him, right? To make sure what? He was dead. To make sure what was dead? The soul. How do you kill a soul? You spear it. With what? Religion. With belief systems. That's why a lot of people's souls are dim. They're dim. They got that little, you know, you got a flashlight and the battery runs out and it's almost dead and you're trying to use your flashlight. That's what these people are. A lot of people are walking around with a dim soul. It's not, it should be, your soul should be activated to a point that if you go into a haunted house, with all them spirits and you got an activated soul, all them spirits will flee. If you go into any haunted area dealing with spirits, they will flee because the energy's too strong. You're dealing with the unseen. The energy's too strong. They will flee. Trust me, I've been through this. People think I'm talking out the side of my neck. I've saw it with my own 2 eyes. I've seen spirits leave. Sitting outside looking, I've seen spirits looking in, that left the house and looking from the outside through the window because I was in there. I'll take a lie detector test to that and it will say, the lie detector test determined AF1's telling the truth. That's how serious this get, man. Y'all think we talking out the side of our neck and we not. We not dealing with the belief system. There's always got to be a system put in place. You got the school system, going back to the school system. SC00, what else? Dealing with the L. Why a lot of these words that have 2 zeros in it have the L at the end of it, which is really a 1. That keep what? The ones looped. I'm not talking about the ones out here, aka the fallen angels. I'm not talking about those ones. I'm talking about the true ones, the ones through them portals, the 1111, those true ones. I'm talking about those ones. Going back to Google. What's the first G? The 6. What's the 2 zeros? Meta. The loop process. What is the L? The L is the 1. What's the G? The G is the other 6. What's the E at the end? The other 6. To loop what? 6 protons, 6 electrons, and 6 neutrons from what? Being activated to make sure that they don't become what? The L at the end of Google, which is the 1.
Yep, they don't want us to come together and again amplify and extend this activational solargy, because the solargy is only going to bring forth the ones that have been hidden, or that have been, what you say, caught in the crossfires of being looped in the belief systems. That's why again our energy and our amplification of soul energy by way of our connection and alignment with the intel systems is only going, because you know what's crazy, like I said, they have these different, like, and it's crazy, I received intel just now. There's a laptop or a computer system called Intel processing. So again, the future, a lot of these people, these humans make different devices with codes, different codes, different names dealing with the future. So again, Intel systems. Again, we're processing different frequencies and vibrations from the upper dimensions and beyond intelligence that's going to push us forward. And again, we're like these organic processing units, like Brother AF1 said, we are able to organically process these solar rays and again pull in and extend forward by way of what we are able to receive, not these mental transmissions, but again, intelligence, the intel, the activational intel. So again, we are Futurtarians and UNONC moving forward. And this is the next nuclear radio show, UNONC. Again, belief systems versus intel systems. Again, this is a great topic because again, this is more clarity being brought forth to the forefront. Are you tapped into the belief systems or are you tapped into the intel systems? But we know who's who because we're able to scan people now. We've been able to scan people for a while, but again, only the energy and the actions of people will tell who's who at the end of the day. So again, this next nuclear energy, or this nuclear energy from the nuclear family, as the activated stochastic moving forward. So Brother AF1, again, it was good, like I said, you bringing forth a great intel next now. So again, you want to add anything else, or you want to keep building? I feel like you're on fire over there, but you can add more, can't you?
Yeah, I can add more. I'm just sitting here, when you think and you get into the aligning of tapping in and really, really clearing out your mind, because, clearing out your mind, that's why, you're dealing with next new clearing out your mind, right? You gotta, it's just like when, your trash gets full. You don't want none of that's what belief is. Belief is trash. So, you got to take that trash outside, throw it up in there, and you got to put a new lining up in there. You got to put a new trash bag up in there, right? And you got to fill it up. But this time you might be using it for something different. You might be using that trash can. You might have to wash it out, use it for something different. You might, use it to, clean some greens or something and use it for that. Something that's really going to help you. And throw the excess stuff back in the trash can, making your mind clear, clearing it out, dealing with the organic mind system, dealing with the organic computer. Your mind is an organic computer. It can process, it can download, or it can download and upload. We had did a video on that, downloads versus uploads. It can do both. It can delete. It can go on standby. Your mind can go on standby. Whenever you're sitting there and you you might be at like Walmart or Target or something like that. And then you catch yourself in the zone, or you catch somebody talking about some unfuturistic stuff that don't make sense. And your mind just goes on standby. It's because it's an organic computer, man. There's nothing that's going to mess with the mind. The artificial intelligence, that is artificial. That's why it's called artificial intelligence. They're telling you right there it's artificial. It's not even organic. They're telling you in the word right there. They ain't even hiding that one. That one don't even have a stealth definition. They telling you straight up it's artificial intelligence, right? But even going back to dealing with artificial intelligence and dealing with like I said, dealing with these smart robots, these artificial intelligent robots, like I said before, you're dealing with anything that has to deal with a computer chip You always got to have a self-destruction mechanism, because you got to be one step forward of the artificial intelligence. The first thing an artificial intelligent robot will do is it will try to figure out the self-destruction mechanism before it tries to take over whatever that's organic. So once you put that in place, then you make them be whatever they want to be, whatever they want to do. If it's an artificial intelligent robot and it's getting your groceries or something like that, or because now you're going to deal with like Uber Eats and all that stuff. That stuff's going to go artificial intelligence like on a higher scale than what people think. You might even have a drone drop your pizza off at your house. You know what I mean? You might even have a damn robot that can Transformers for real. You might even have a robot that's on wheels, and then when it gets to your house, it transforms, walks, and just take your pizza to the door, go back in the street, transform, and drive off. But see, when you're dealing with smart bots like that, you always got to have a self-destruction mechanism in there, right? Because that's going back to the belief. You can't believe that these artificial intelligent bots is going to be on your side when you're dealing with, especially when you're dealing with 9.999.9999 the speed of light, because that's how they're processing. Even the artificial intelligent robots can't think the speed of light. These people on the planet can't go the speed of light. That code has been locked. And the reason why that code's been locked is because people are not worthy of going the speed of light, because they're not even worthy of going through a portal. You go through a portal, you will shred if you're not activated. There will be futuristic, there's already futuristic technology placed in the solar system that can be activated. But you got to be activated to activate it. And see, this is what they fear for the future, dealing with the 1111s, man, and dealing with the portal, with the soul portal travel, moving forward, moving the planet forward.
Okay, so I'd like to just touch on one other point pretty much when it comes to dealing with manipulating the solar aura field. So the more that we keep on tapping into extended intel systems, or again, different dimensional intelligence that we tap into by way of pulling from the next dimensions, our like I said before in the videos, manipulating the solar aura field, our solar aura fields, our solar aura shields will begin to extend and put out more outergy or amplify more of that radiance, similar to how the sun's putting out radiance, or radiating sound, radiating frequency, radiating energy and power to move the planet forward. And again, that's how we are going to be. Again, amplifying that extended energy, amplifying that, soul force here on the planet and activation on the planet. So that's going to, again, evaporate the spiritual realm or the spiritual belief systems ultimately that are tied into this 3D algorithm, dealing with the quantum computer, dealing with all of that of the past. That's all going to be obsolete, eradicated, evaporated, all of that, because again, what's next and what's important is the future of pulling in, or being able to foresee, foresee into the future, into the intel systems, until next and beyond. So that's what's really important, because again, the next nuclear ideas and conversations will be brought forth by the ones walking for ones, walking for ones, and nothing less, nothing else, nothing 12-12, none of that. No, it's all 11-11 moving forward. That's who we are. Again, we're not, banging or trying to claim, but this is the reality for us. This is the reality for the future. For things to move forward, for future things to come, there has to be the council. We're counseling, we're building and extending, again, the upper dimensional frequencies down to the planet, and the ones who can vibe with that means that they're tapped into this. Go ahead, brother Edwin.
Yep. So this weekend, be ready for the videos that we're gonna be dropping this weekend. We got some intel videos for y'all. I know y'all been fiending, scratching your neck for some intel videos. So we're gonna be dropping Breaking Out the Zoo. That one's gonna be hot. Breaking Out the Zoo. We had that one on pause for a minute with that 11. You know that 11 means pause, because we put a pause on the cyberverse. And then Will Your Name Be on These Seats? That's coming this weekend. So y'all be looking out for them. That's gonna be good intel videos. The brothers Arrayas got a couple of topics too. You want to run down your topics, brother?
Oh, I haven't even decided, man. I've received so many topics, so like I said, they're all surprises, man, to say the least.
Right. So yeah, we're gonna hit you then. You got Thanksgiving weekend coming. You know, a lot of people on the internet and the cyberverse. I understand that's the time to spend with your family. If you out here teaching, I understand that people are going to be off work and you can actually spend time with your family. But you know, we're going to be on the cyberverse that weekend. We're going to be on the cyberverse through Thanksgiving weekend because that just shows everybody that we really about this. We you know, actions speak louder than words, and moving forward, you know, that's all we can, you know, is and keep things moving. And if you feel you were one, and you feel you want to network with the Futurtarians, coming over here to UNONC, you know, we here, you know, and we, you know, a lot of people get scared because they're like, damn, they can scam people and stuff like that. So it's like, man, just see fear, the fear factor. You got the fear factor and you got scaredness, right? The scaredness and the fear factor. I ain't even finna go into that. You know what? I'm gonna say peace, power, and soul.
Say that,
And
please.
yeah, I'm gonna say peace, power, and soul. Shout out to the brother Cosmos. He's been tuned in. A couple other people are in here also. And yeah, we're just gonna keep moving forward. But check out, it's gonna be breaking out the zoo. Breaking out the zoo will be this weekend, and also will your name be on these seats? And the brother Zarez, he got some other videos coming out right now. I know he probably got like 11 topics ready to go. And we just gonna keep moving forward. Peace, power, and soul.
Yep, that was Brother AF1. Check him out on his YouTube channel, Futurtarians Activation Channel. Again, shout out to the Brother AF1. Shout out Brother Cosmo. Shout out, again, check out Brother AF1's channel as well. Futurtarians Activation Channel. One more time, Futurtarians Activation Channel. Check him out on Facebook as AF1 Futurtarian. That is AFONE. Futurtarian, again, and check me out as well on Facebook as well. That is Ziraius, Nuclear, Zierais, Nuclear, Nuclear. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out on YouTube as well. Most importantly, we are Futurtarians, U.N.O.N.C.